Are you sure? Okay, but don't say I didn't warn you. This episode is sponsored by Google Play, with the help of A3, Still Alive, the dark fantasy open world RPG. In an industry that runs on the infinite grease that is childhood nostalgia, get ready for a game that tries to push the well-worn boundaries of the remakes and remasters by pulling a mascot platformer straight out of the grave for an actual full-on sequel, proving once again that necromancy is an extremely risky business.
Oh, ninja!
Yo, Crash.
Quavo.
We talking masks?
I got masks heavier than your chin.
Crash Bandicoot 4, it's about time. Spin along with gaming's version of a C-list celebrity, bashing baddies with your favorite mutated marsupial in a whole new adventure, created based on the wild enthusiasm for the remake of the original 3 games, and the somewhat more muted enthusiasm for the remake of the kart racer, as a fairly straightforward enhancement of the same gameplay people know and apparently love, that was clearly designed to deliver exactly what die-hard fans were expecting, and that apparently hit with basically nobody else, proving that what most people wanted was to reclaim the joy of their youth, rather than actually play another one of these video games. I'm playing more Crash Bandicoot in the year 2020, and death cannot claim me soon enough. Discover a package more crammed full of 90s platforming than you could have ever imagined. From the fixed camera angle jumps that will have you narrowly missing platforms, and running directly at the screen dodging things that you can't see coming, to the tedious box collecting that you'll repeat over and over because everything kills you in one hit, with checkpoints that are on a whenever they feel like it system, occasionally mixed up with a vehicle sequence that controls like ass, as is tradition. All topped off with the occasional boss fight that actually provides a nice break from your quest to eradicate all crates from the universe. That, along with a bunch of new art and locations, do their best to make the game feel current, but ultimately don't make up for the fact that game design has come a long way in the past couple decades, and that Crash 4 feels like an HD remake of a game that got 70s in 2001.
Wake up!
Experience Toys for Bob's version of updating the Crash formula, stuffing it full of more shit, with a quartet of new questionable tribal mask companions that grant time and space bending powers, which provide whole new ways to get incredibly frustrated with the finicky platforming, and a whole squad of new playable characters, each with their own levels and mechanics, like the grappling-hooking Tawna, who came from whatever dimension gives you the modern female video game character design treatment, the side character from Crash that people definitely know and recognize, Dingodile, and Dr. Neo Cortex, who can make platforms and do a Psycho Crusher for some reason, all of which combine for a truly overwhelming helping of new abilities to wrap your mind around, and that will have you stretching 5-minute levels into soul-crushing half hours of struggle. Because apparently this game was designed for expert Crash players that don't have to worry about landing 3 inches in front of the next platform. May God have mercy on their poor cursed souls. Discover the true grind hidden behind the friendly facade of Crash 4, where almost all the fun stuff like extra costumes or bonus levels are locked behind some of the most difficult challenges the game has to offer, that turn even the easy levels into extreme tests of your patience and resolve, as you're forced to scour every single corner of the forced perspective for some box the devs hid behind a blind corner or other trick of the bad camera angles, or run the risk of having to do the whole level again, assuming you're not just stuck repeating the same sequence over and over and then dying because you farted too close to a nitro box, in an experience that was probably designed to expand on the challenge of the previous titles for a generation of adult gamers, but ends up crushing most of what little joy remained instead, crushed like so much fauna under Crash's giant hairy ass. So slip into your freshest jorts and get ready to run directly at the metaphorical camera that is the future, where we finally have incontrovertible proof in the form of this video game And maybe, just maybe, people will finally be able to admit the truth they've always known deep in their hearts. That Crash Bandicoot was never good.
Your booze mean nothing. I've seen what makes you cheer.
Starring Crash Kart, Cocoa Pebbles, designed by committee, TMNT villain, Evil Gilbert, Dr. Jowls, Dr. Peter Lorre reference that was ancient in the 90s, Kefka, and look, it's from the 90s. We're kind of committed to the tribal mask thing. Crushed Dreamsicoot. It's past its time. Now that the corpse of Crash Bandicoot is reanimated, expect to see it shamble in new and exciting ways. First up, whatever this bullshit is. This episode is sponsored by Google Play. Get A3 Still Alive and discover more on Google Play now. Can't always win. Can't always lose. Homer, stop cranking that soldier boy. The trees can't be harmed if the Lorax is armed. The first step on the way to 50 Grand Slam is $200.